Hello.
Had an emergency come up, so we're going to have to get you the information right there by video lesson. Hooray! Coach Egg, thanks for hooking me up. No, he's if you have crawfish, I'll take some crawfish. So let's move. Third period. It's a friendly period. Say hi, third period.
Hi.
Weirdos. All right, so let's move. Today, we are going to spend most of our time in the civil rights stuff. All right. So we got to move. All right, we talked about the baby boom. How long is our baby boom going to last?
20 years.
Yeah, from about 45 to about 65 there. Lots of social implications. Because families are getting larger, well, one, I guess, effect of it, where are we going to start moving? Suburbs. Our first suburb? Levittown. Good. Again, these changes economically, how are we doing? Yeah, we're doing real good at this time. We've also got lots of technological advances going on. 1959, in terms of containment, we hit a bit of a hiccup. Who takes over Cuba?
Castro.
Yeah, Castro. And so we enter into this big game of brinkmanship. What is brinkmanship?
Pushing the other side of the edge.
Good, taking it right to the edge. Why?
Because
Yeah, our CWAs say that if we pressure them, they'll back down. We talked about a lot of different CIA ops trying to bring down Castro. And then we got into the 1960 election, Kennedy versus Nixon. What are going to be the two biggest things that impact this election?
The TV.
First, TV debates. Who looks good in them?
Kennedy.
JFK. What's the other issue?
Ike doesn't endorse Nixon.
That is an issue,
Martin Luther
but
King.
that's the big one that I'm looking for. Why? How does Junior weigh into this thing?
You got Robert to get JFK out of jail.
Good. And so, you know, we're going to see, especially in this popular vote, 70% of the black vote is huge. So, what?
Bird line.
Well, again, the racist Democrats in the South, they've won a couple states recently.
I mean, he won president.
Not true. Okay, we've already talked in JFK's 1,036 days, we've already talked all this Cold War stuff. Today we'll go there and then finish down there. Okay? Peace Corps. What is the purpose of Peace Corps?
Economic aid.
Good. Underdeveloped nation aid, helping them produce capitalist economies. Band Pigs, whose invasion plan is this? Who does it go down under though?
CIA.
JFK, led of course by the CIA. Is it a success or failure?
Failure.
Utter failure. But what's going to happen to JFK's approval rating? Shoots way up. All right. And then we talked about that 2-week time period in October of '62 with the Cuban Missile Crisis. What starts the Cuban Missile Crisis?
We have a plane fly over and we take pictures of the building.
There you go. U-2 photograph finds missile sites in Cuba. JFK, what is his response? Initial response. Creates a committee, quarantines the island, also announces it to the American people. What's the American public's response? Freak out, again, because these medium-range missiles that are in Cuba can hit anything in this circle right here. All right. Long story short, Khrushchev ends up giving us two options. What's the first one?
Tell the public that
If you get rid of the quarantine and it's to the public, we'll go in and remove our missiles.
Yeah, lift the quarantine, tell America what's going on, they'll come in, take the missiles out. What's the second option?
we can
Yeah,
remove
they
our
remove the
Turkey.
missiles from Turkey and they take their missiles.
Good. They remove their missiles from Cuba. We remove our missiles from Turkey. Who is JFK going to seek advice from? And Robbie suggests what?
Doesn't matter.
Just
Keep our missiles in Turkey.
Good. Do the first, ignore the second. And so we do that, and we get that hot line between the White House and the Kremlin. All right? Soviets are going to extend their lead in the space race. Who's the first man in space?
Yuri Gagarin.
Good, Gagarin. But we're not too far behind. Who's the first American? Shepard. And then we talked about Glenn helping us take that lead by orbiting 3 times. I think it was in this class that said that Gus Grissom died when the Liberty Bell sank. It wasn't that one. That dude was like cursed. When he came down the first time in the Liberty Bell sunk, he got out. He would die in a later mission. All right? Like I said, dude was kind of and then we talk dramatic government action. What is Kennedy going to challenge Congress with?
we want the moon.
By?
End of the decade.
By the end of the decade. Get to the moon by the end of the decade. And we talked about how much it cost for just the fuel for these Saturn IVs, right?
Yeah.
69 million bucks. That's why we're only going to see 5 a year. Okay. So let's get into the day. All right. Start off with this new frontier, because if you remember, the new frontier really describes JFK's domestic policy. Okay. Talk about overall what he wants in this new frontier, and then we'll talk about what actually succeeded. Okay. He wanted federal assistance for public schools. Wants hospital insurance for the elderly. Some type of housing legislation. Federal assistance for depressed areas. When I say depressed areas, I'm talking about poor areas. Wants to increase the minimum wage. And some type of medical insurance. Okay? So, those are the big things that he wants in this new deal. What actually goes down? Minimum wage will increase. Aid to depressed areas we'll get through. We're going to give somewhere right at $400 million in aid to depressed areas, and this is domestically, not Peace Corps style international stuff, but domestically. And then the big one, the Housing Act of 1961. Okay, we've talked Housing Acts before. A lot of this Housing Act stuff is building what?
Pretty shoddy buildings.
Yeah, federal project housing. That's why they're called projects. Okay. Now, this Housing Act of 61 is going to broaden the scope to include urban renewal. All right. To include urban renewal, it's going to give more public housing. Congress is going to appropriate something like $4.88 billion for this, and so we're going to see a lot more of this federal housing projects go up. But still, remember when we talked about it. When did we talk about it last? It was 40.
Somewhere under FDR.
It was under Truman. But regardless, remember they don't get near what they had intended to. So it simply is a continuation of that. All right. Now, there's reasons why a lot of this New Frontier stuff doesn't go through. One, there's a lot more emphasis on foreign policy. All right, there's a lot going on in terms of foreign policy. Also, JFK is not really going to meet with senators. He's not going to meet with senators for domestic legislation. And what we will see is that Republicans and conservative Democrats are going to kind of make a coalition to block a lot of JFK's more liberal stuff. All right. So what I want to talk about is more of the civil rights stuff. All right. Now we've talked about sit-ins. All right. We talked about sit-ins as a popular form of protest. We see this girl. What's happening to her for participating in a sit-in? Getting arrested. Is she being violent?
No.
No. All right. Remember, we talked. JFK gets helped out a lot by by Junior. Remember, Junior gets arrested in Atlanta. This is him getting arrested in Atlanta. That's his mugshot. All right. So when we're talking about that, remember he got arrested for participating in a sit-in. Sit-ins weren't the only way that they were popular for protests. Boycotts were often popular. What's the big boycott that you guys have been learning about since 3rd grade? Yeah, Montgomery bus boycotts, with all the Rosa Parks stuff. One thing that doesn't get mentioned a lot are freedom rides. Okay, members of SNCC, largely members of SNCC, were going around and trying to get people registered to vote. Okay, that's what these freedom rides were all about. And we can see on this map here, people are going to rent out these buses and take trips throughout the South trying to get people registered to vote. Why is voter registration such an important component to this movement?
It's allowing them to express their opinion.
There you go. You got to turn that voice into political power, and you do that through voting. All right. Now we take a look at the routes that they went. Every time we see a star, what does that mean?
Violence.
Violence. Okay. Again, this civil rights movement is painful. Okay. It's extremely painful. And it's painful a lot because it's challenging a status quo that has been the reality of the nation for decades. Okay? So, talk about one instance here in Anniston, Alabama. One of these stars here. The bus comes into a gas station, all right, full of freedom riders. And an angry mob of people follows them to the gas station, starts circling the bus, and they're trying to intimidate these people. Gas station owner comes out, says you can't do this here, and the mob scatters. Everybody's thinking, all right, well that was easy, we'll continue on. The bus goes cruising down the road, and the mob had created a roadblock further down the road. Okay, when the bus stopped, they blocked them in and started circling the bus, screaming obscenities at them, telling them to come out and meet their maker. Is anybody going to get off that bus? No, so they start throwing rocks and bricks through the windows, throw Molotov cocktails in them. All right, now that the bus is on fire, are people going to leave the bus?
Maybe.
At their own detriment. All right, people are going to get savagely beaten. A lot of people get left for dead. Okay, this is an extremely painful movement. Now we take a look at there's another Freedom Ride bus on fire over there. This is not going to be a nice, squeaky clean, everybody feels good movement. All right, it hurts. This movement is going to hurt. And we can see there's going to be a tremendous amount of violence in Alabama, in Mississippi, in those deep South states. Okay. Now, in terms of civil rights, there was early support from JFK. In fact, JFK had moved to hire more blacks into his administration than any previous president before him. The Justice Department was involved in voting rights disputes in over 100 southern counties. Think about that. Justice Department involved in voting disputes in over 100 southern counties. Means the Attorney General is going after who? What's our buzzword?
Voter foilers.
Vote foilers, good. Which means that the Kennedy administration is enforcing what previous law?
Brown.
Nope. Which one let the Attorney General go after vote foilers?
Oh,
Brown
CRA
too.
57.
CRA 57. All right, good. That CRA 57 is getting enforced here. Okay. But other than that, there really was no civil rights legislation up until mid-63. Okay. Unfortunately, in this country, for us to take action that actually challenges the status quo, it takes something extreme to happen. All right, and we're gonna get some extreme events in Birmingham. All right, April '63. Martin Luther King Jr. and others are going to lead a massive demonstration in Birmingham, Alabama. All right. Now, what kind of protest is this?
Likely peaceful.
Is it violent, non-violent?
nonviolent.
Of course, it's non-violent because Junior is a proponent of what kind of demonstrating?
What?
Non-violent protest. Okay. Now, it's going to be met with opposition by this guy, Bull Connor. Bull Connor was last year's all-name team member winner because his real name is Philopoulos Eugene Connor. I don't know if his mother didn't love him or what was going on there, but that's why everybody calls him Bull. Okay. Bull Connor is going to meet the demonstration here with violence. He instructs the Birmingham police and fire departments to basically wage war against these nonviolent protesters. All right? I want you to think about the discipline that it takes for you to walk down the street for rights that are constitutionally given to you, but you're being denied. And see a police officer with a dog coming and sicking a dog on you, and you don't react. It just happens. Now, you got to think, would you have the discipline to continue a nonviolent movement when faced with this situation? Police are beating people with batons, putting dogs on people. The fire department is unloading their hoses on people. What you got to understand about these fire hoses, they're powerful. They can rip paint off of a car. They can rip flesh off a human. If it hits you and you're in the open, it will knock you off your feet. And it has the power to, if you stay laying down, even you say, I'm just going to sprawl out on the ground, if they hit you with it again, it will push you across the concrete. All right? We'll take a look at this guy. This guy right here was later interviewed, said he knew these kids, knew that they had nothing to do with the demonstration, they were just wrong place, wrong time, and he didn't want them to get hit with the hose. So he stepped in and protected them so that they could run away. Look at the indentation into his side that this is being put in. Alright? Internal organ damage right here. Alright? Now, a lot of people are going to get beaten. A lot of people are going to end up in jail as a result of this protest. Junior would go to jail. Okay. Now this is big. All right. This is big because the movement is at a crossroads. All right. There's a lot of people who are saying that this non-violent protest is not the way to go. They're saying it's not the right time, it's not the right tactic, that this movement is encouraging disrespect for blacks, that it is it's not the right time. We need to wait. Society's not ready to make these changes. That because of what's going on, you're encouraging people to continue and beat down on others. Other people are saying, no, forget nonviolence. Let's show them that we are a force to contend with, and let's meet violence with violence. All right? The movement truly is fracturing at this point. And Junior has every right to be angry and to be upset and to completely fly off the handle in a letter as he sits in this jail, as people are howling and screaming and angry that they are put in jail for walking down the street. And yet he doesn't. You guys still read Letter from a Birmingham Jail? You used to in the English class, in the AP English class, when Miss Rose was here. It really is a shame that you guys don't read it anymore, because Letter from a Birmingham Jail provides us with a fantastic example of changing composition. Okay? Remember what the Gettysburg Address did for the movement in the Civil War? What did that do?
It
Gave it a
was
reason.
a direct response.
It reminded people why they're fighting and that they must continue on. Just like the address did for the Civil War, at least the North's efforts in the Civil War, this letter for Birmingham jail is going to provide a changing composition that is going to refocus and bring organization back to the movement. All right? I've annotated this thing out. I wish that I had known before we started today that you guys don't read this anymore, because I would have had you read the entire thing. But you can take a look at my annotations because they're powerful. All right? In this, Junior is talking about the interconnection of all people. Right? He's talking about the interconnection of all people, and says that everybody here is equal and that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. To the people who are saying, hey, it's not the right time, he says it's got to be the right time, because everybody truly is the same. If we don't stand up now against the injustices that plague this community, in the future it might be against Hispanics, or it might be against people who have blonde hair, or pick any physical attribute. There might be injustice, and if we don't stand against it now, there's going to be nobody that stands later. A lot of people criticize the nonviolent method. Remember, people are saying, oh, you know, you're coming in and you've got this direct action, you're having protests, you're having marches, you're having sit-ins, and it's only infuriating people that are already there. You know, there's got to be steps before it, and you're doing it wrong. And he says, no, we're not doing it wrong. You have misunderstood what's happening here. Because the first step isn't direct action. The first step is a collection of facts to determine whether injustices are alive or not. He said that's what we've been doing by talking to people and having meetings and understanding that what happens here is also happening here, and trying to figure out how we can create meaningful change before actual protest. He says that's the first step. The second step is negotiation. To go in and say, hey, lend some empathy and make compromises to what's going on. The supreme law of the land says this, but right here, you know, they're clearly 1 + 1 is not equaling 2 here. And so you try negotiations. And when that doesn't work, you must purify the self. Because you've got to be able to take the ego out. You've got to be able to take yourself out of your body. And so that when you go and you sacrifice yourself for this movement and you get beat on and you get arrested and you get, like in the sit-in picture over there, you get syrup and other condiments poured on you as you're sitting there waiting for what should be constitutionally given to you as a citizen of the United States, you've got to be above it. And you can't fight back. And when this doesn't work, when these 3 steps don't work, the only thing we have left is direct action. And people saying, oh, well, with all this direct action, you're breaking the law. You're breaking the law. And he says, you know, maybe. And in 6, and on the next slide, 7, he talks about that there is a purpose of law. Law is supposed to protect and serve. And it is supposed to build communities. It's not supposed to block the flow of social progress. He's talking about that when you have laws that are created that are at their core unjust and at their core designed to continue to subjugate a group of people and prolong the status quo for a group of oppressors, an unjust law is not a law at all. People that are saying it's not the right time, he says the right time to do good is always right now. We can't wait here. We can't wait. You know, in here he talks about, you know, people who say that it's causing issues. He says we're really bringing to the surface the hidden tension that already is alive. In another speech, he kind of gets sciencey, and he talks about a petri dish. With bacteria. And he says if you take this petri dish and you put it into a closet that's warm and dark and dank, and you forget about that it's there, and then you take it out and you pull this dish out, what's happened to the bacteria on it? It's grown. He says, and you bring it out and you show people, what's their initial reaction? Oh, that's disgusting. I don't want to accept that this exists. Put it back in the closet. You know, don't let me see it. I don't want to think about it. And if I don't think about it, therefore it is not real. And he's saying no, because the reality is that the issues that are being covered up still exist, and they're continuing to grow and they're continuing to fester. And so if we take that petri dish of bacteria out and we put it into the sunlight, what happens to bacteria in the sunlight? It dies. And that's what he's saying about this movement, is that if we don't do it right now, if we've come this far and we put it away and we say, oh, maybe we'll come back another day, the issues are still going to be there, and they're going to compound on themselves. We've got to bring this out to light so that we can make meaningful change in society. I mean, you guys got to think. What, the CRA of 1875 prohibited racial discrimination in basically all facets of life. What happened to that CR back in 1875? It was deemed unconstitutional. And then after that, we get separate but equal. And that is the new reality for, what, 5-6 decades? All right? And he's saying, you know, if we're going to make meaningful changes, we've got to keep this out. And we've got to expose it for what it is. He continues on, you know, talking about how waiting makes it worse. He talks about how even in the face of frustration and what seems like rejection, you have to continue on with moderation and lukewarm acceptance. Continues on and talks about this extremism for love. And he quotes different areas of the Bible and even through history where, you know, people took love to an extreme and it turned out to be the most positive thing that could happen. Talks about the heroism of nonviolence and what this does. All right, he basically sends this out to all the people who are saying this movement is not the right time, it's not the right place. And like I said before, it's a great example of changing composition. Because people are going to read this and it reminds them, you know what? He's right. And this is a painful movement. But if we don't do it, if we don't finish the deal now, we're going to come to 2065. And we're still going to have the exact same issues, but they're going to be compounded. All right? You know, that's one of the big problems with the race issue in this country today. All right? You know, we could theoretically fix all the race issues in this country, but remember, this is a movement that what? It hurts, right? It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. All right? You have a cut on your arm and you put a Band-Aid over it. If you don't clean that cut out, what's going to happen to it? It's going to get infected. Now, when you take that Band-Aid off, are you going to pull it off slowly or quickly? You going to pull it slow?
Depending on what kind of person you are.
I'd go fast. Theoretically, you pull it quickly.
Yeah.
Underwater.
You put it underwater. Drowned it first. No. No, you want to rip it off. Because otherwise, you know, the pain is going to continue. And that's really the problem that we have in society in terms of civil rights. We pull it slowly and we start to feel the pain and we don't like it. And we say, you know what, forget it. You know, it'll be fine. It's covered with a Band-Aid. But the problem is that we've got to clean that wound out. And so, you know, a couple of days later, we try to pull it, thinking, oh, you know, maybe it's not as sticky anymore. And it starts to pull hairs, and you go, oh, no, you know. But if you were just to rip it off, just rip that Band-Aid back and actually address the issue at hand, is everything going to heal much quickly?
Yeah.
Is it going to hurt?
A little bit.
Yes, but it's not going to be easy, again, because you're challenging the status quo. And people get so used to the reality that is crafted for them that when you make changes to their reality that people aren't ready for, yes, it does hurt. But if we're going to have, you know, you take a look, Ferguson, Missouri, Baltimore, Maryland, Valdosta, Georgia, All these issues are compounded issues. These issues could have been solved a long time ago, but people keep putting the Band-Aid down because they don't want to confront the actual issues at hand. Now, we have a chance every single time we have some type of racial outbreak in this country. We have a golden opportunity to rip that Band-Aid off and expose everything for what it is and eventually heal the wound that infects this country, but it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Now, this letter from Birmingham jail, it's a powerful piece of literature. In the last election, who did Junior help get elected? JFK. And JFK is not going to forget this. All right? He reads the letter and he understands that, you know, now is the right time. On June 11th, JFK is going to give a civil rights speech on TV. Okay? In his civil rights speech, he's going to call for moderate provisions in terms of civil rights legislations. And he feels good about it, but it moves through Congress very, very slowly. In fact, by November of '63, it was still in the House Rules Committee. It hadn't even made it out to the entirety of the House. Right? It was still locked down in the committee. Now, this is important because that's November of '63. What kind of a year is '64?
It's a leap year.
It is a leap year, which means it's an election year. All right? And so JFK's got to start campaigning at this time. Okay? Now, November of '63. November of '63, JFK is going to go to Texas for a campaign trip. A lot of people said, hey dude, don't do it. Don't go to Texas. It's not a good look. All right? Don't do it. And he says, look, man, the Democrats in Texas, they're splitting up. And you know, we've got to heal that division, and I've got a campaign in Texas. It's a big state. On November 22nd, JFK was riding in an open vehicle. You know, a lot of us think, oh, that's silly. Why would you ride an open vehicle? Because back then, that was what was acceptable. People want to see their president. Now they ride around in these vehicles that are safer than tanks. All right, and you know, it was the norm. It wasn't out of character for this stuff to happen. All right. Now, riding in an open car, Lee Harvey Oswald would be in the book depository. You can see the motorcade here. He's going to come down Main Street. The Kennedy caravan comes down Main Street, hooks a right onto Houston, and a left onto Elm. Lee Harvey Oswald laid wait in an upper floor window at the Texas Book Depository. It's basically where schools in the area warehoused their books. Okay, and he would shoot and kill JFK. Okay, shoot and kill JFK. Now, you children have been trying to goat me into conspiracy theory since this unit started. And it's not going to happen. Because I know the government is honest and the government would never lie to me. Ever. I work for the government. I'm here to protect you. And you too. So, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. His palm were on the prints. He fired 3 shots, 2 of which hit the president and killed him. Okay? So, to help disprove your conspiracy theories, raise your hand if you shoot guns. Rifles. Shoot rifles?
Yeah.
Lovely. You, up. Move over there. Come over here, please. Whoa, whoa. You can't sit on my bench. That's borderline. Sit on. Face the people. Nick, if you would also sit on your desk. Okay?
That way?
Yeah, of course. Okay? Now, here's what we're doing. This is the president. No.
No, President.
You're the president. This is the edge of the car. I'm gonna come get you guys in just a second. And you hold your chin hairs. Right there. Good. All right. So, let's do this. Can you see everything here?
Yeah.
All right. Lovely. Now, you shoot weapons, right? Or you shoot rifles. Okay? Now, I'll be Lee Harvey Oswald. Okay? I'm way up here. Okay? I've got my rifle. Okay? Now, if I shoot you from right here.
If Cheney walked in right now.
I didn't invite him in. Emperor Cheney is here at all times. Okay? If I shot from right here, where's the bullet going to go?
Straight for me.
In which direction? Point.
Just
Not you, Nick. It's going to go that way.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of rifles do you shoot?
22 mostly.
Okay. Have you ever shot a magic bullet?
I'm not that lucky now.
Okay. Well, see, Lee Harvey Oswald was shooting magic bullets.
Okay.
Okay? Now, this is real stuff. Because, would you get back in position?
I want to watch.
So, don't worry, you're about to get shot too. Okay? So, first shot goes off. Now, this bullet is going to come down and hit the president in the shoulder. Where should it come out? Out that way. Now, this is a magic bullet. The bullet's going to come out of the knot in the tie. Governor, you've got to be. Alright, so it comes here. Now, comes out of the knot of the tie. Again, which direction should it go? Rather, it's going to come this way and hit Governor Connolly in the elbow and then go down and lodge itself into his thigh. How is this possible? It is. It's a magic bullet. You've got to believe in magic. You've got to believe that the government would never lie to you.
It was Magneto.
Alright, so, thank you. You guys can have a seat. You can return to your seat. Your Jones there. So, now here's the thing. Everybody that was in this area that had any type of recording device, it was confiscated by federal officials. Okay? One good piece of evidence was released. Abraham Zapruder's film. Okay? Abraham Zapruder was standing right here using an 8mm movie camera. That was like awesome stuff of the day. Now, it captures the entire thing. And it will prove what the Warren Commission, the body that investigated the assassination of President Kennedy, it'll prove that it's all true. You guys want to watch?
Yeah.
Love this.
You've been kind of seeing
I'm pretty sure there's like head.
Alright, so here's Warren Commission testimony. Stop talking. In contrast to the testimony of the witnesses who heard and observed shots fired from the depository, the Commission's investigation has disclosed no credible evidence that any shots were fired from anybody anywhere else. So if you said something to the contrary of what's in this, you're full of crap. Continuing on. No credible evidence suggests that the shots were fired from the railroad bridge. The railroad bridge over the triple underpass, the nearby rail yards, or any place other than the Texas School Book Depository building. Here, you, hold that. All right, so. Oh, come on. Play for me.
Oh my gosh,
You already
it's like
gone.
crawling.
Hold on. We're going back.
Spoiler
All right, so here they come. Here they come. Again, making a left onto Elm here. There's the president's car. Now, he's sitting right here. Okay, notice. He gets up, looks back, everybody looks, and all of a sudden,
Boom.
the magic bullet. Now, here's the thing.
She's like the exorcist.
See, it did go back.
No, his head landed like.
Now, a lot of people, it's a magic bullet. You think your body's supposed to go this way, it's magic, you're going to come back this way. Now, because of the way he jerks back, a lot of people say, yeah!
Is that what a lot of people say?
A lot of people say, here, we'll try to go back.
Well, you're using Windows, you're using Internet Explorer.
Stop talking to me. Don't tell me how to live my life.
Everyone knows you're supposed to use Sharp.
Good gracious. You children and your technology.
Go to the little setting gear.
setting views.
No, on the video.
On the video.
Oh, there you go. Go to quality. Oh. Click quality.
While they're watching it, it's 140p, right?
Yes. We want, we don't want garbage.
Oh, Chrome?
Where's Chrome at?
Research. It's go to search programs and files and type in Chrome. Yeah, or you can just start typing Chrome and it can search for you.
Do that.
You children and your technology, I swear. I hope it all goes away. And then you're all gonna be like, yeah, Monty, how do you start a fire? And you'll be like, I can't look it up on YouTube.
And that, here we go.
Traditional fire starter.
Get like the little stick to bore the hole in it.
Well, this quite possibly is the most disappointing showing of the Zapruder film ever. The government did not lie to us, although they didn't. You're un-American if you say they did. Now, the Warren Commission. The Warren Commission was set up to investigate this thing, if we can get it set up by the end of this. If not, you can always Zapruder film yourself. Anyway, Warren Commission was set up. Chief Justice Earl Warren. Hey, we're up and running. They're going to come out and basically say exactly what I just told you, and you better believe it. Just to make sure that nothing to the contrary would come out, they released the Zapruder film. They said that Lee Harvey Oswald's palm prints were on the rifle, and that he shot three times, two of which hit the president, and that's how he died. And then they sealed all evidence for 75 years. Sealed it all for 75 years. So at some point, it's 30 something. I don't do math. 30 something. You know, here, let's do this. They'll release the rest of it, and we'll see that the driver did not do it. Although we can see it here.
For driver.
Yeah.
Well, why does that one say proof Bush killed JFK? Dang it, Bush, I didn't know you could time
Wait, they
travel.
think the
I
driver
knew
did?
Bush killed him. Of course he did. Bush can tell on time.
Alright, so, here we go. Oh, I'm coming for you, 7th period. Here, you're back on it. Alright, so, keep your eyes focused. Here's the president. He's got the coughs. It bit me. Keep your eyes on him. See? Nothing. Oh, what?
What does Jackie do? She like goes.
She freaks out and tries to jump out.
Trying to like grab the.
Wait, did she
No,
try
but
his head like blow off?
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a magic bullet and it comes through your tie hole. All right. Now again, watch the driver. He'll come into focus right here. Now watch him. Keep your eyes on him. Whoa! What?
Go back. Wait, what happened to the driver?
I don't got it. He doesn't do it. His head blows off. I'm so confused. I can't.
What happened to the driver?
What do you mean what happened to him?
What? He turned his hand back to the.
What are you talking about? All right, I'll play it again. I'll play it. You tell me when to stop.
Do spacebar, and you can like.
Stop talking.
Right there.
Nothing's happening. I
Yeah,
don't
he
see
turns
this.
around.
Oh my
Go sit on the floor in the front.
Ready?
Stop.
No, wait, keep going.
Spacebar.
Just a little bit more.
Spacebar. You need spacebar.
There, right there.
Oh,
Okay.
What?
Someone point there. The driver.
What?
That's the driver.
Yeah, this is the driver right here.
Yeah, but how do you know he had? Oh, I was thinking just.
As soon as he moves his arm back,
I can't see his arm back.
Watch the black blob.
yeah, watch the black clock.
I'm watching.
Turn around. Right
All right, everybody see the driver. He's right here. I'm going to disprove your myth. Keep watching.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see it now.
What? What do you see?
Literally, his arm back like this to shoot them.
How do you know that?
Because
Where's the gun?
In his hand.
This is
His hand.
Go point to the gun.
It's a little white something.
Point to it.
The white thing.
This?
He
That's his
moves
collar.
his arm.
This? No. See, the Warren Commission addressed this. This is the dippity-doo that was in the passenger's hair.
The dippity do.
Yeah, the hair gel. It was just the sun bouncing off the top of his finely gelled noggin.
I don't know.
You guys have a great weekend. I'm going to try to quell the conspiracy right here.